Hello, welcome, itchy nose again, always an itchy nose. Welcome, and I don't know where the moon diary is, to Gemstone Tarot weekend reading for the 11th and the 12th. I'm just guessing that. I think it is the 11th and the 12th of October 2025. How are you doing? How am I doing? I'm going to pull that curtain across a little bit actually. Yes, yes I am. That's better, that's better. Okay, what do we need to know for the weekend? The weekend. Creaky chair. Ooh, I'm using Kitsch Pop Tarot because it's fun, and I think we need a bit of fun because over here in the UK we're going to head to the dark nights when we get to the 31st of October, and I always find that a little bit daunting, a little bit testing. Yeah, I don't think I do need to do reversals today either. You'll be pleased to hear. Ooh, that one's got a tarot reader in it. Oh, hello. The lovers. The lovers. The lovers. Speaking of which, I've got a love reading out. So do please check it out and do hype it if it's resonating with you as well. I'll put it down in the description box. I can't tell you how much it means to me to have your support, and it's making a huge difference to the channel, which is amazing. Okay, oof, hello. Overall energy cards, I'm going to take 2. That's brilliant. First one is the Queen of Pentacles, and this is what we call the Queen of Velvet Waiting. She's still got the bunny rabbit and whatnot, and she's kind of using vinyl, which I really like, because, you know, if you were going to think of the kind of person that the Queen of Pentacles is, she would be a vinyl kind of a girl, you know, because it's quality and it's slow living and it's happy where you are, and that feeling of just integrating with your surroundings. And, you know, I don't know what I'm doing now, some sort of weird kind of Tai Chi. I'm terrible at Tai Chi, so it's just me pretending to push a big ball around, which is always what Tai Chi looks like to me. So this is about being, as the Fonz used to say, cool, and not getting up on your own grill about why isn't this happening yet. Okay. And then we get the Chariot. So now we're in a little dodgem car. I love this. I mean, strictly speaking, there should be 2 seats in the car somehow, you know, like a double dodgem thing, because the Chariot is always riding 2 horses with 1 arse. But we'll forgive that. Let's just call this feeling at home in your environment. Okay, so we put these 2 together because the Queen of Pentacles is always shown in either a woodland environment, or that she's on some gorgeous velvet throne and she's got a really good kind of sumptuous velvet dress on or something. Or like this, where you're just having those very rare afternoons, because it's very simple but very rare. And let me know if you can remember having any of these times where you're not really doing anything. You're not, you know, oh, do you remember the time we went to Disneyland or we saw this concert? But do you remember the time when we were all in the back garden? Or even you were on your own in the back garden, and the weather was like this and the smell was like that, and I just thought to myself, I wish this had gone forever. You know, it's that kind of mentality. So there's something here as well about being able to be like that, even if you're not in that kind of a mood. So particularly if you are a bit frayed around the edges, just get into that feeling of, this is what it's like when I feel happy in the garden, or happy with the dog, or just happy on the sofa. I love the sofa. Then we have the High Priestess. This is pretty cool, isn't it? Has anybody actually been to someone at the fair who looked like this? Because I haven't. And I know I should, shouldn't I? I would be, wouldn't I? I'm very choosy who I would go to. but I reckon I'd be far more likely to go to a complete stranger in a tent at a fair and have my tarot done. I think that that's something like I would either feel like it at the time or I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But it wasn't something I'd set out to do that day. But let me know if anybody's ever been to like a Madame Rio, you know. And what was the reading like? Did it come true? Was it completely like disappointing? And then we get the Star. And this feels a lot more like this as well, the Queen of Pentacles. About being, I mean, this is just someone who's in the tub. And, you know, I don't know why there's a cactus plant there. That's a bit weird, isn't it? So we've got like hope written on the bottle of bubble bath, which is fine because we all love a bubble bath. We've got the duck. Then we've got a cactus. Can anybody think why we've got a cactus there? Because I'm all ears. Anyway, so we have the Star, which is about, again, normally, and we had it yesterday, the Star is about wishing for something, wanting something, manifesting something. But sometimes we can want and we can manifest just a mood of comfort. I want to feel stress-free. I want to feel that I'm not overthinking. I want to feel like I felt, you know, I remember when I was, God, how old would I be? Like 8. And we were moving and we went and stayed in like a bed and breakfast place. It was nothing fancy. And as you do when you're an 80s kid, I kind of snuck off and I was playing in the driveway of this country pub. And I remember setting up some sort of school with some stones, like you did when you were a kid. You know, when you're always crouching when you're a kid, and you're kind of crouching in that easy squat position that now if you try and do it, like, oh my God, like, give me 3 weeks notice for me to get back up off the floor type thing. But then you'd be like in this easy squat. And I just remember being really, I've always liked stones, okay? We were talking the other day about weird stuff. I love stones, I love rocks. Not that I do anything about it. I do sometimes bring them home with me. But not in a, it says, not that I do anything about it. Looking over at a beautiful, I just love the feel of a stone. And just the marks on it and all that stuff. And I remember setting up a pretend classroom with all these stones. And I got very lost in it. And I've just always remembered it as a time when I was very absorbed. And to be absorbed is to be quite happy. So I'm going to show you as well. I just want to test out something. Let me just do that. Let's show you. Look. What do you think about having me up in the corner like that? I know that the cards are looking a little bit like dull, but we could fix that. As opposed to normally I'm down in that right hand corner. So I'm just experimenting with this to see what you think about the positioning and stuff. There you go. Let me know in the comments. Right, okay. So this is about feeling happy with what other people would think was not very much. And then we have the Four of Cups. And this is to do with overindulgence. This is to do with having too many choices. You know, do you remember Blockbuster? Sometimes going in there on a Friday or Saturday night and there were so many different things to choose from and you couldn't choose. And then you felt bad for not choosing because there was so much choice. Sometimes if we keep it really, really simple and we just streamline it down to very, very real simplicity, like when we were playing as a child, it's just about what you can get absorbed in. That's all. It sounds easy, but it's not as easy as it should be. And then we get the Lovers. And we have the Lovers and we have the Chariot. Remember that you're being pulled in 2 different directions. And do you ever have those days, and it might be a weekend like this, where you've got a choice, like you've been invited somewhere, you don't know if you want to go, but you've also don't know if you want to stay at home. You've got this fear of missing out about staying at home and a fear of missing out about going. And then what you do is you do neither, but you ruin your whole day worrying about which one to do. and it all goes down the pan. So you have a sort of slightly salty kind of a day where you're annoyed with yourself because you can't decide. That can also be a thing. Too much choice is a bad thing this weekend. That's what I'm trying to say. We then have the Page of Swords, and we have the Knight of Swords. And this is about ideas coming to you when you're absorbed in this kind of simple task. So just sitting with the dog, or finding a nice patch of sunshine, or whatever it is that makes you feel sort of at home, even if you're not at home. And then I think what you'll find is certain creative sides of you that have been locked off will just open up. Not because you're trying, and especially if you were trying to force it before. This is like allowing rather than forcing. So it's a nice vibe this weekend. It's a low stakes, low key, low expectation, but rooming into the space where you are like you used to do when you played as a child. We got there. I like that though. I'm going to go and do that now. Leave me a comment. Do check out the love reading, and I will see you soon. Namaste.